5 kings, 1 name. From Aegon the Conqueror to young Griff, the name Aegon has shaped the fate of Westeros more than any other. But if you line them up, which Aegon's sitting at the bottom and who rises to the top?
Yes, who's the top and who is the bottom? Aegon, who's sitting on the throne and who is at the feet of the throne. And this is going to be a really linear ranking. It's just going to literally be Aegon's after the conquest, Aegon's conquest. And we also won't be including any Aegon children who were stillborn or just died as children before they really rose to prominence or had any kind of prospect. So that's who we're going to be going with. Also, no Jon Snow. He might be an Aegon himself, but we're going to treat him as if he isn't. And even if he was, he isn't that great. He breaks his vows to the wall. He's only good at leading criminals. His mentor is the father of a slave trader. So we're not going to be talking about Jon Snow.
So if he was on the list, he's at the bottom.
He'd be last.
Also, heads up, we will be going into spoilers. So spoiler warning for House of the Dragon, A Knight of Seven Kingdoms, as we discuss events pertaining to these Aegons in these storylines. Let's start with the very first Aegon, the OG daddy, Aegon I, the Conqueror, who united the 6 kingdoms, not the 7th. Gator, what are your initial thoughts before we go into the other Aegons here?
Aegon I, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know amongst the whole Targaryen corpus, Aegon I, not that great, not very high whatsoever. Amongst the Aegons, though, I don't think that he's going to be last. Definitely isn't going to be probably in the lower 2, I wouldn't think. That said, he still isn't all that great. He basically has a taste for like mindless destruction with his dragons when he agreed to help spank large forces in Pentos, Tyrosh, Lys from Dragonstone. And then after that, he kind of decided, why don't I get some of that done in Westeros too? Kind of like Christopher Columbus, came over to Westeros, took one look at these guys after he got done writing in his journal in a mysterious language, and he says, these guys would make great slaves, great subjects. And then he just kind of went to work with his nuclear launch code dragons. So I don't have a lot of respect for his tactics, but you got to admit he did accomplish quite a bit, and he led a united 6 kingdoms for quite a while. But we're not going to be able to rank him until we introduce the next guy, so...
Aegon the Uncrowned, his grandson, who many say he kind of looks like Aegon the Conqueror. But this guy, Aegon the Uncrowned, he immediately has to be underneath Aegon
100%.
the First. Aegon the Uncrowned is somewhat brave. We can say that as positive towards him. But he's a little bit more on the stupid side, trying to fight his uncle, Maegor, in open combat with his dragon, even though he's not really a dragon rider. He took his dragon from his dad, and he didn't even have that dragon until his dad passed away. And the dragon he took is Quicksilver, his dad's. It's like, oh, dude, not a good look.
Aenys.
You don't want to be associating yourself with Aenys.
Aenys Targaryen.
Aenys.
No bueno. Really, even though, dude, he's kind of pushed into that conflict with Maegor by those around him, which, by the way, is not a plus. That just shows how like manipulatable he is, too. That's what I think anyway. His performance, not impressive at all. But even the initiation, I don't think had anything to do with him. So it's pretty bad. And when he died, it was quick and easy. So not impressed with this guy whatsoever.
Yeah, not impressed. He was not able to convince enough high lords to back him. He convinced more than, it seemed like Maegor, because when they fought, it was 15,000 versus 5,000.
He had a bigger force.
So he had the advantage, but he did not have the experience or the bigger dragon in that situation. And also, when we rank these kings here, I want to take in consideration how they ruled, but also how they set up the next generation to rule if they live that long, right? And for him, he had no sons. He had a sister wife, which was not great at this time. It was not really accepted. They were only into the Targaryen dynasty.
Right.
So, not great. Not great looking for how great you could have been, or at least how everyone views you within the realm. But speaking about somebody that probably looks really good in the realm's eyes, Aegon II, the elder or the usurper by his enemies. What's your overall thoughts on Aegon II, and where does he fit between these other two above him?
I think he's a little underrated, actually. People like to degrade him just like they do another Aegon on this list that we will get to. But I think that Aegon II is a little bit underrated. I don't think that he is as scummy as a lot of people think. I think that, especially if you go by the book, the fact that he was made king definitely was more of a coup against Rhaenyra than the show kind of made it seem, where it's a little more amicable on both sides, or, there's legitimate confusion from Alicent, which the book, there really wasn't any confusion. They just tried to grasp power because they thought that's how it should work. Aegon taking the throne over Rhaenyra. And there is precedent for that, by the way, too. Like, if you want to go by Westeros precedent, the son should take the throne, whether or not you agree with that. It's just the way it was up to that point, regardless of what King V says. Screw him. But Aegon II is underrated. I don't think he was nearly the scumbag that they tried to portray him in House of the Dragon Season 1. He did not rape that girl, and they even tried to backtrack that in House of the Dragon Season 2. You know, they do. They realized that was a screw-up. It didn't happen in the book. He was kind of stifled by his father, too. Imagine being raised by King V. Okay, that dude's low T as hell. It's not a good way to be raised, and he still managed to perform decently well until he got totally screwed up by Dragonfire, you know, and that was not his fault either.
Right.
So, and he ended up accomplishing quite a bit. I'm rambling, but I think he's underrated.
Underrated for sure. He's the only Aegon on this list that has survived Dragonfire and has been in combat against another dragon and survived. So as much as Aegon the Conqueror looks like a badass, we talk about it all the time. He was using his dragon game shark to conquer all of Westeros. Meanwhile, Aegon had to fight other dragons and survived. And he's actually the last dragon rider king we get within the Targaryen dynasty. Until maybe Dany comes over and it might be the next dragon rider that sits the Iron Throne. But yeah, he has a very sad life. His children, or at least his son, was killed, Jaehaerys, by Blood and Cheese. And then his other son, Maelor, dude, he was like ripped apart. His daughter then has to get married to Aegon III. You know, he doesn't see what happens to her later on. But yeah, he's crippled. His sister wife aims for the bushes when she's kind of not having it in King's Landing anymore. Like his life is so like painful, but he's able to at least clean up King's Landing once Rhaenyra ruined it all. So as much as we think he's like, I don't know, this guy's kind of a piece of shit, or like maybe he wasn't made to rule, with the hand he was dealt, he was able to win this war and clean up King's Landing and set up the next generation, hopefully for success. Maybe not complete success, but who on this list or in any kingdom can say I single-handedly did everything myself and I was able to overcome every adversity and every, conflicting member in my council. I think he had a way more difficult time than Aegon I, and I would almost want to put him above Aegon I, but I think a lot of people would just freak out about that and be like, you can't do that, which makes me want to do it even more. But where do you put him on this list?
For now, I do put him lower than Aegon I just for the reputation and just for
we'll see.
We will see, but we might change it later on. But for now, because it's early in the video and we want people to keep watching, we're going to put Aegon above Aegon I above Aegon II. But of course, Aegon the Uncrowned is still in that dead last spot for the time being.
And he's accused of kinslaying, right? But I really want to get the breakdown and comment down below where do you guys land on this. He's kinslaying because he kills Rhaenyra. But in Ned Stark's opinion, the man that passes the sentence should swing the sword. So should he not swing the sword? Like where do you go with that?
Yeah, I know the fans are going to be super inconsistent. I don't know. Yeah, Kinslayer, but also Ned Stark rules. He's like the best guy. He's morally great. He's morally good. It's terrible. Yeah, no, there's no way to square that. And plus, too, dude, the way Aegon is like betrayed and dies, we don't even know who betrayed him, but we know he was betrayed in his horribly crippled state. It's not like he was a threat anymore, dude, and he wasn't a cruel king. So I don't understand it's sad. I feel for Aegon II.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, he burned the shepherd. Yeah, after the shepherd led a insurrection down to the Dragon's Pit and killed basically his dynasty right there. Yeah, so next one up is, speaking about killing dragons, Aegon III, Dragonbane, or the Younger, as he's known. Talking about depressing, I already mentioned that with Aegon II. This guy is on a depression speed run from watching his mother die. His dad dies. He doesn't see that happen, but he never sees his dad again. All of his brothers die except for one, but he thought he was dead, presumed dead for a while. Yeah. His wife dies. His friend dies. And one of the greatest characters of all time, he literally has to sit there and watch die, Tywin Lannister, who we love here on this channel. This guy has suffered so much from rebuilding a civil war Westeros into a united kingdom, and also dealing with the a sickness that came around and killed so many people that many maesters call Aegon III dead inside or broken. I'm really kind of hampering this guy or giving this bad description of him, but he's on a very difficult path for himself.
Yeah, he's 100%. He's sad maxing to the extreme, man. That's his life. Yeah, he's sad maxing. There's no doubt about it.
Sulk busting,
overly depressed. His brother, who is recovered later on by Oakenfist or whatever, way better mood. This guy, way better mood. And it did brighten up Aegon III a little bit, when his brother got rescued and brought back. And by the way, too, if we were ranking him, if he was named Aegon, his brother, which unfortunately isn't, dude, brought back Sandok the Shadow, one of like the most Giga Chad dudes in all of Westeros history. Like, come on. It's pretty good. And plus, too, he helped Aegon, Viserys II, helped Aegon get through like a 2-week fast when they were locked, held up in the castle, which is get that metabolic reset going on. I bet that helped out the depression, at least for a little while. But like you alluded to, he may have killed the last dragon. It's possible. People accuse him of that because he was so anti-dragon after the whole conflict on the Narrow Sea when, his fleet was attacked by the Triarchy and they all got screwed up, right? I don't blame him for hating dragons in general, but that's actually a pretty good reason too. And if he did kill the last dragon, which I like to think he did, that's super based, dude. Super based.
It is.
And by the way, too, in the light of his depression, in spite of his depression, he was forced to marry like a child, and he didn't consummate that marriage for like a decade, dude. But after he did consummate that, despite being depressed, probably couldn't, get it up very well, managed to pump out 5 kids. 5 healthy kids. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, say what you want about this guy. He's dealing with a tough life. He had a lot of great hands as well. The hands to the king, a lot of great hands. It kind of took responsibility.
Some say they're the best hands.
Some say they're the best.
Some say they're the best.
Some say they're the best. But, I like it. Cregan was good in this situation too. The Hour of the Wolf, he reigned during this time. A lot of good stuff happened under Aegon III. He probably isn't the best king, but he was dealing with a lot, man.
Yeah, his difficulty, like we talked about before with the Game Shark, and Aegon II had to deal with a lot of difficulty with the dragons. He has no dragons, and he's trying to keep the realm together, which is even more difficult than Aegon I for sure, and he was able to do it, at least effectively. Yeah, you said about killing the dragons. I don't blame him whatsoever about killing the dragons. There's a dragon that hatched, I think in one of his nieces' the cribs, because they put the little dragon egg in the cradle with the baby,
right,
with the Targaryen offspring. And this dragon was like this maggoty looking dragon that spouted out of this egg and started attacking the baby, injured the baby. I don't think we get full description on what this baby looked like afterwards, but of course I'm going to kill every single dragon I see.
All of them.
If I saw that happen. Sorry, they can't be here. Yeah, so I don't know where I place him though in all of this, because he's definitely above the Uncrowned, and
yes,
and I think the Uncrowned, just take a seat there. Get comfortable there at the bottom, the Uncrowned. The third, though, I almost say he's better than the first, Aegon III. Even though Aegon I did a ton of stuff, but he has the ability to use his dragons and tell people to bend the knee, and he can just point to the field of fire to be like, hey, do you want that to happen to you again? Okay, cool. Let's move on. Let's get this passed through.
Right. In my opinion, dude, if he did kill the last dragon, that puts him in first place for now. If he did not kill the last dragon, then I think he kind of sits probably second to last, I would say, if that's the case, because it's such a decisive move for him to do that. It's such a decisive, assertive move for him to kill this last dragon, even if it's spiteful, but it could also be very forward thinking, understanding that all these problems in the past ultimately came from these dragons existing, and then now looking forward, like they're just not good to have around, especially the last dragon. Always going to be one person that's going to be able to potentially be a dictator across the whole continent. It's just, it's not right. So if he did kill that dragon, and I personally think he did, I think he's in first place.
Yeah, I think he's first place for me. We'll wait till later to reorganize this at the end to make our final arguments. But Aegon I, I'll just remind you, I don't think he had any offspring. I think all of his offspring are from his sisters.
Yep.
Messing around with either black magic or other men. So I do not think Aegon is the father of any children, and he's a massive cuck. But talk about some person who is not that. Well, maybe he's a little bit of that. Aegon IV, he tries to claim himself. He was cucked by his brother, but he definitely has been cucking. What is there, like a 10-to-1 ratio, 11 to
minimum,
15-to-1 ratio of him cucking other people versus him getting cucked. Aegon the Unworthy, I don't know, does he go by any other names than the Unworthy? Because I don't know, I kind of feel for this guy a little bit. Everyone trashes him, which makes me think, is he really all that bad?
Right.
I mean, his military ability, not great. Failed Dornish invasion, like complete failure. He doesn't really get done what he wants to do in court, because from every indication we get, he wants to put his illegitimate son, Daemon Blackfyre, on the throne. But he kind of does it in such a way, just it feels like he's passively aggressively doing it, which is so low T. Like, oh, I don't know, I'll give him the sword. No, just say he's going to be king. You want him king. Delegitimize Daeron II, the good. Say, he's not my son. But no, he goes, I think he might not be my son. Oh, I don't know. It's like, dude, if he had a backbone to him, I would be so on his side. But no, I think I want to be a fan of Aegon the IV because everyone hates him so much, but there's enough stuff there where I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm questioning it a little bit too. I think he is misunderstood still. I think that he has positive traits. I think he's hilarious. For one, I'm sure he was I think this is even stated, a lot of the common folk liked him because they thought he was funny and he was kind of inconsequential for the larger realm. I know he was really kind of a dick in court and he was stifling people and he was whatever. But, it's like, dude, imagine like a high-ranking like executive, like the CEO of a company. Who cares if he's a shitty boss to like his immediate underlings, his secretaries and his like executive assistants or whatever? Who cares if he's a dick to his COO? If he's like a super great guy to all of like the grunt workers in the company, like the assembly line guys, that's great. I don't see a problem with that really. I think it's cool he appreciates Bittersteel. He honored Bittersteel's mother by naming those mountains after her tits.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think because I like Bittersteel. I think Bittersteel's awesome. I appreciate him size maxing in the Red Keep when no one else would. Everybody was asking for it. No one else did it except him. He died because of it. Okay, that's how dedicated he was.
Does anyone understand how impressive that is, though? To eat yourself to death in that time period.
Right. No,
and not do anything.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. They didn't even have like the super high calorie foods that we have now, like, where all the hydrogenated fats are mixed with the sugars into this, diabolical combination that tastes so good. He was probably doing it on like bread. Filling bread is, dude, that sucks so bad. Anyway, he tried to the biggest thing for me is he tried to tear down the barrier between bastard and legitimate children. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
These like incel loyalist Targaryens weren't ready to end that stigma, and I could see it being low T. Right, he is. I could see it being low T, but I do think that maybe it was necessary to do it in that passive aggressive way, because if he's too assertive, everybody's just going to reject it outright. There might even be an open rebellion, and I know there was an open rebellion, but not like from people rejecting that opinion. It was the reverse. It was the people who thought they now had the right coming in, and I think that's a noble cause. You and me are huge fans of the Blackfires, man. We should be fans of Aegon IV.
I should be. I wish he was more assertive and actually just said outright, even though I don't know how much he loved his brother, the Dragon Knight, but yeah, you had sex with my wife, dude. This isn't my kid. But instead he's like, I don't know. There's just these rumors going around, and I don't know. I wanted him to stand like any of these. Maybe not any of these. I mean, would Aegon IV have the backbone of the third to kill all of the dragons, or of the second to go to war and cleanse these Rhaenyra supporters out of King's Landing and stuff like that? I don't know. I think he has to be at the bottom. He's above the Uncrowned, but I want him to be better. But come on, dude.
I know.
I don't know.
No, you're right. There's no way to argue it. It's just it sucks, man. I mean, to be fair, maybe he would have killed the last dragon too if it was there. But let's be honest. The dragon pit is quite a walk, and if you're like 500, 600, 700 pounds, how are you going to get down there? No one's going to help you out if they know what you're going to do. So
yeah, there's no ramps. You can't just roll down and then roll back up. Right?
No accessibility.
But the next one up here, Aegon the Unlikely, the fifth, who we see in the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, squiring for Sir Duncan the Tall. What do you think about his reign as king?
I think it was fine. He's probably the most milquetoast guy on here, to be honest with you. It really didn't all go to hell until the very end, when he wanted to revive dragons or whatever, ended up burning himself and everybody else along with him. Not a great move, but you tell me your thoughts on him first, because for me, he's just so milquetoast. He's just kind of a nice guy. There's not much to him. He's very one-dimensional.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He tries to promote the policies or remove policies for the small folk, but they don't really last that long. And I think a lot of them are undone by, I don't know if it's by Tywin or Aerys II, who actually does it. But a lot of the lords did not like the direction he was putting things. He's married to a Blackwood, which I'm not a fan. We're Bracken channel here. He also just is not able to control his kids all that well, because it never feels like there's one heir of his that you go, oh, this is the guy, because Jaehaerys II is the one that eventually takes over after him, and he's so sickly and a loser that Aerys II then takes up the throne after his dad dies. But his first son, Duncan Targaryen, what a loser. He grew up, he
Pathetic.
raised a simp who gave up the crown. Like, this is not a good look for him. And then by the end of it, I'm sure because of all of his policies failing, Aegon V, I'm trying to think of the exact equivalent of this, but after he basically is not able to pass anything and is having a very similar arc to Dany, over in Essos, where it's like, I'm trying to do all these policies, but they're not working because I'm so naive to the political, landscape I'm dealing with. He eventually does a deep dive into prophecies, is in the dark web, the InfoWars of Targaryen lineage stuff, and he's like, dude, if I use this black magic, I can bring back dragons. I need to get everyone in Summerhall right now and show them what I'm talking about. We will rise. All these policies I've been thinking about, we are going to enact them for good if I can get these dragons.
It didn't work out so well.
Big L for Aegon V. I think.
Listen, you know what he did? I'll tell you this right now, man.
He's sitting there with the fourth right now. I don't know where he's above or below.
I think maybe he's slightly above because at least he does have one great thing on his record. He laid the hammer down on the Epstein of Westeros, Brynden Rivers.
Oh, true.
Blood Raven.
Yeah, that's true.
So took one look at that birthmark and said, "You're going to jail, buddy." That's all it would take for me too. And so at least there's that. Try to put the kibosh on that whole situation. Again, it didn't last. This adds to your argument that nothing lasted. But at least he had some things that he wanted to do. The one thing that he did that lasted was basically a big mass suicide. So that sucks. But he's not that great, man. He's probably. Yeah. He's probably second from the bottom, if not third from the bottom. One of those two. He's either above the Uncrowned or above the fourth. I almost want to put him below the fourth because at least the fourth had some actual good ideas. Aegon the Fifth, I mean, what did he have? He didn't really have anything revolutionary or innovative. His impact wasn't that large. He quashed the last, Blackfire Rebellion, the fourth one, but that was pathetic. There was almost no rebellion at all. The Blackfires had no steam left at that point.
Yeah, you had me when you said he sent Brynden Rivers north. And I was like, oh, right. Dude, yes. Hell yes. And I thought to myself, Aegon IV, he's the one that helped birth. He's the father of Brynden Rivers. Fuck this guy. Aegon IV. Why would I want him above the fifth? But then I'm thinking, well, the fourth did produce Daemon Blackfire and also Bittersteel. I'm like, oh, those are so cool. But I don't know. Yeah, it's really a coin flip.
It's not like Aegon IV gave Blackfire to Bloodraven. He gave it to Daemon Blackfire. Now, these guys were enemies, so...
Yeah, and the fifth let him take Darksister, let Bloodraven take Darksister up beyond the wall.
Right.
How the hell did you let that happen?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
You know what? The fifth is going down below. Sorry. Let us know in the comments. Kind of I hate this pick. Go ahead. The last Aegon to speak of is Aegon VI, a.k.a. Young Griff in the books.
Here we go.
Gator in this lineup right here. How are you putting Young Griff here?
Young Griff?
Is he
dude?
I almost feel like he's right smack dab in the middle, right?
He might be high middle for me, man. He might be high middle. We haven't seen his potential yet. That's the thing. We're not going to be able to give him an accurate rating. But right off the bat, man, no dragons, huge plus, right? And he's on his grind. He's absolutely grinding his whole childhood in Essos. It's kind of like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, same kind of thing. But it's him oiling Illyrio, So that's his daily training, and then doing this kind of in year 1, 2, right? But and obviously that's not his only training. He's also a master with swords. He's probably got some great leadership, some charisma stuff going on, and that they've been priming his rage boosts as well. We kind of got a glimpse of his rage boosts on the boat with Tyrion,
Which, who's not raging at that point when you have this little imp?
Oh, I know.
Just speaking in riddles.
Smarting off.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah. What do you think? You're Jesus
and
Christ?
You in this
speaking
chess-like game?
Come on. No bueno, man. So, dude, 100%. He's the secret weapon of Illyrio. He's got John Condom as a relief valve. It's kind of like a Jaehaerys origin almost. He's just grinding his childhood away, except instead of his sister, to lay his seed in, it's John Connington. John Condom. Literally nothing more than a stress ball. There's no emotional attachment there. It's just physical. So he has no weakness at all, man. He's got no weakness, all rage, no dragons. I think he's going to kick some ass when he gets in there. But again, we don't know enough about him, so he can't be number one.
We got to see how he does as ruling. I don't think there's enough negatives about him. There's a lot of positives for him, at least what we've seen. I would say he's right smack dab in the middle. Honestly, I want to move Aegon the First down and put Aegon the Second as second. My list right now is Aegon the Third. I'm just going to put the second, then whatever, 1 or 2, then Young Griff, then 4, then 5, then the Uncrowned.
I got news for you. I completely agree with what you just said. That's our list.
Two above 1?
2 above 1. 3, 2, 1. Young Griff, the 4th, the 5th, and the Uncrowned. That's it. Done.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not. We don't care.